Hello Aries, how are you? I'm here to do the reading for the Scorpio full moon. Now, I know the moon was yesterday, super moon, but I was just far too in the feels to read objectively. So I'm doing this morning. The moon is still in Scorpio, so we'll still get that energy. But if you were feeling like really sort of heavy, intense, and melancholic yesterday, that was that Scorpio supermoon. Now, I'm going to start with, I'm going to actually tell a story. And so I'm going to tell a story to explain the energy that's going on right now, because it happened to me yesterday. And looking at these Sabian symbols, I was able to sort of piece it together. I will be pulling 3 cards here for advice at the end. And then we'll start shuffling the rest of the decks. But so the Scorpio moon, the Sabian that the Scorpio moon was on, is a woods rich in autumn coloring. And that is sort of a ritualistic moment, a visually ritualistic moment of impending change, impending death, new seasons, right? We like to go visit the woods as the trees change colors, but it is a sign of, a change of seasons, a change of tree. That whole tree is reborn. So it's the beginning of the cycle of the rebirth, but it is the visible ritual of death, if you will, albeit beautiful. Now the sun in Taurus, the Sabian for that one is actually, it's kind of unusual, but it's funny. It's a woman airing out an old bag through a sunny window to give it air and sunshine, right? So it's like, you get this idea of like this really musty old bag that hasn't been useful in a while, right? And she's airing it out. She's dragged it out of wherever it's been hiding, and now it's being repurposed for new life. It's being given new air, new oxygen, new light. So you have at the same time a degree talking about new life and another degree talking about new death. Now, the story I want to tell you is this one. So I have a guy I've been friends with for about 10 years. And we've always had kind of a strange interaction, right? It was always purely platonic for one, well, actually, I'm not going to say for one reason or another. It was always purely platonic. We have a very great conversation. We're open and honest with each other and whatnot. But it's never, and there was an attraction, but nothing ever happened. And through the years, we get close, we separate, we get close, we separate, whatever. Anyway, I haven't spoken to him in a while, in a couple of years, actually. And I had a dream about him the night before last. So not this past night, the night before the full moon, like probably about 2 hours before the new moon or the full moon happened. Anyway, so I have this crazy dream about him. I send him a text message. We start talking and the conversation escalates really quickly, right? Like changes form to a new form that it's actually never had before, where we actually start talking about what if and why not. And in this conversation, what if and why not, as fast as the conversation started, it ended. And so it was like, it was really funny because at the same time, within the span of like a couple of hours, something was born and something died. But what it did was close out sort of an old cycle of, I think he was kind of like the last one that I had a question mark over people from my past, was that I had actually like in some way created the situation so that I could get a conscious understanding of why it couldn't be, and then closed it out. So you may find yourself provoking situations or things may come to you from the outside that are quick births that are meant to serve also as quick deaths. But the point of them is that airing out of old bags, right? To get new light and new sunshine in. So it's like finally, yeah, there it is. Finally understanding why something had to go down the way it had to go down, or seeing why that thing had to die. And also being able to understand what role it played in your cycles, also as a symbol of how far you've come. One of the things that kept coming up was, because this is a person that I've known for so long, they were sort of stuck to an identity, a persona that I had been 10 years ago, and weren't seeing me at all for who I was today. So there's some of that also, right? Like maybe people seeing you in a new light, and that causes things to end, or you creating situations so that you can, like digging things up from the dirt from the past so that you can actually give them a proper burial, give them a visual, like the fall leaves, a visual ritualistic moment of death. Yeah, and so you may see that this moon helps you dig up things, unearth things from your past, which is very Scorpio, in order that they may die. And you have to sort of trust that, and this is the challenge, trust that everything is sort of happening for a reason. That, and you see this, like when we think about air, new air and light, that as we discover what is and what was and what was meant to be and why things went down that way, and if they try and leave us, or we discover that in trying to force things to happen, to grow, that we weren't trusting the natural flow of things, and so those are the things that die. Now my story's over. I will get into explaining these cards in a second. I'll get one more over here. Okay, so that's kind of the energy. Yeah, I love it. New life. Okay, so let's stop a second and take a look here. Now, this discovery is, I want to check this because I remember the story, but it's about this guy who's like constantly looking for love, and tries to sort of, I think, force this flower into being its love, and actually discover, they said that the love you've needed is with you the whole time. So let me just double check this. Okay, I am more than I think I am. So the legend here is, life is easy for young Pink. He takes his gifts for granted until one day he loses Petunia, the love of his life, forcing him on an inner journey. He works hard on himself, hoping for another chance that doesn't come. In desperation, he consults the sky god and learns that Petunia is incapable of receiving love. Pink recognizes that Petunia's role in his life has been to expand his capacity to love. Okay, so this is like perfect. So yes, like I said, dusting up situations from the past. You may be going back to some past relationship or some past situation, or they may be coming back to you to see like, hey, can we give this another go? And if it's a quick start and a quick end, then the lesson, it's all about the lesson, is in helping you to recognize that this person's role was not and you have to trust what you see, trust the change, that things go from one state to another state, that what their role was to help you expand and to help you birth this new life, right? And so you should be seeing visible signs of new life through new death, right? There's these two energies coming from the sun and the moon energy, new life on one side, new death on the other side, and they're balancing out to bring that situation to help you sort of wake up to this new sense of you that's been in development for a while. We've been seeing this, and there's like, the cards that came up in the first half of May were all about the great reset, right? And starting over. So there may be a sort of like parenthesis in your life right now, or it may be what happens during the retrogrades, that That's actually probably what it's going to be. During the retrogrades, you may have situations from your past sort of emerge again, come out of their shell, wake up again in order that you may bury them properly. All right, let's get 2 more cards here. Two cards, please, for Aries for this full moon of Scorpio. Now, this upcoming week, I might do a weekly this week just because there's a lot of movement. The nodes have shifted, right? So we now have our North Node in Gemini. And so, oh, there's poor Zoe locked out outside. She says, hey. So let's look at the planetary movements for a second. So Pluto went, okay, there's that golden palace. I'm going to get one more card here. Pluto went retrograde on the 25th of April. Saturn is going to go, and in these next couple of days, you may feel a sudden, like, things come to a screeching halt. It's because all the planets are the planets that are about to go retrograde, which are 1, 2, 3, are all stationing. So Saturn is going to go retrograde on the 11th. Jupiter goes retrograde on the 13th. Venus goes retrograde on the 14th. And Mars goes into Pisces on the 14th. Now, Mars does not like being in Pisces. It's our 12th house. It means we're going to be digging up what we've been hiding in the basement for a long time. And that doesn't feel good. Plus, Venus is going to have us go back through our steps in Gemini to get some new information. And Jupiter has to kind of go back and tire kick the foundations he's been setting. So let me get one more card, please, for Aries. So yes, you may feel things come to a screeching halt in the next couple of days. You can feel a little bit frustrated also. It's kind of like when you know somebody's going to call you, or like you're waiting on a phone call and it never comes. That's kind of the energy that's going on right now. It's like you can feel something's happening, but it doesn't happen. It's like same as like a flower when it's about to bloom. It looks like you can check on it in a couple of days and nothing happens and it gets really frustrating, and then just one day you forget and it blooms. That's kind of the energy that we'll be dealing with right now. One more card for Aries, please. Okay. Magical map shifter, but this came up in reverse. So let me see what this means here in reverse. Now, this golden palace here is about, the golden palace represents good fortune, ambitions fulfilled, wealth, and prosperity. It may also indicate emotional fulfillment, as perhaps you're entering a time of happiness that's long overdue. The message here is that self-worth isn't measured by what you have, no matter how abundant your life is. Instead, it comes from what you are, how authentically you're living your life, and how much love you're willing to share. Receiving this card does indicate material gain, I'll take it, and furthering of tangible rewards, but things come and go, and know your true value leads to even greater riches now. Share the wealth. And then this one is reversed. The magical map shifter card may bring you the opposite of what you seek. So that is very interesting. Remember, it's like those two opposing energies, the new life on one side and the new death on the other side. Perhaps you're in denial about your situation and refuse to see the truth, or maybe you've been traveling down a path that has constantly led you to a field of poppies where you fall asleep and dream of desires that never find their form. To have the life you really want, you must match its vibrational energy and resonate with it. Sometimes our greatest hurts and disappointments are what awaken us to our need to shift to a higher frequency. Okay, so that's those two polar opposites, right? There's situations coming up from the past, so we can start them over so that they can die, so that we can bring that into balance, this new life and new death. in order for it to bring us to an understanding, a more authentic understanding of who we are becoming, who we are truly authentically from within ourselves, right? Like what lies at our heart, and that it's not outside of us, but it's within us. That the love that we seek is within us and is trying to be born. And sometimes it may take a little slap in the face or an unpleasant situation or a little death to get us to trust that we're actually falling into something that's better. And that's when we start to see the rewards, is when we bring this situation into alignment. Hold on, my cat's scratching. One sec. Okay, sorry about that. So let's get back to here. So if your heart aches because someone is breaking it, this discomfort will lead you to a more authentic life. Don't linger in the pain or blame the magic map shifter for alerting you to the illusion that you clung to. Know that treasure lies elsewhere and can be recovered once you've healed the wound that is reflected in those who come to you as catalysts for growth. Okay, so this is a very clear reading. And it's about soulmates who are coming into your life to give you clarity on the love that lies within you, to push you closer to your authentic self that is coming out of its shell. Now, soulmates don't always come to us in relationship form. They usually do. But they can be friends, they can be situations. You know, the soulmate is really anyone with whom you have a soul contract. And so whatever, I think the point is, whatever the disappointment or the thing that dies, the new death that has to die to give you new life, that's the situation that's pushing you to awaken more to your own authentic self. And you have to sort of trust that this fall thing that feels like falling is actually taking you to a different dimension. And here's the last sentence. As you experience yourself transforming into the highest version of yourself, you'll come to understand that you're always fortunate when you meet up with a magical map shifter. Right. So these are people who, like, you know, who come on your path to course correct, and they may be popping up from your past. So don't, like, if something new like starts up in a flash, but then also finishes in a flash, understand that that situation was there to push you into a different space, right? It's kind of to push you off the cliff, but so you could get to rosier skies. All right, let's get 3 cards here for Aries, even though I think this is pretty clear. 3 cards for Aries, please, for this full moon in Scorpio. Yep. So there's that impending energy that we talked about, right? That things may feel like they're not moving very fast. You're waiting for, you can have this sense of like, when is this going to happen kind of thing. 2 more cards, please, for Aries. Scorpio full moon. 2 more cards for Aries, please. Yeah, okay. So like I said, the things can, 7 to the 8, can feel really slow, like nothing's happening. It may kick off all at once. And then let's see what the next card is. Last card, please, for Aries. 1 more. Okay, and the Knight of Cups. So you see there's a clear progression here. Of waiting for something to happen, it comes flying in, and there is an offer. Now, this is not to say that everything that starts off now is going to end badly, but this Knight of Cups, whoever he is, could be a woman, could be a man, could be a job, could be whatever. There's an offer that's coming in to you that is meant to push you into a direction that brings a more authentic version of you and wakes you up to a new side of yourself. So if it doesn't last, don't get too stuck to whatever this is, because the ultimate message here is that the golden palace that you're looking for does not lie in that guy's cup. It lies within yourself. So there's nothing there. What they're offering you is just going to wake you up to who you are, or to this new person you're becoming. So it's like you can drink in your new being, but it is not, don't confuse what's in the cup with the person, is what I've, it's kind of the lesson in all those karmic relationships and the twin flame things. And I know when you're going through it, trust me, I've been there. You're like, no, this is the person. And then you realize when you finally let go of it that no, it wasn't the person, it was the lesson. And they were the messenger, right? That these guys are, they bring you something that you need, but it's what you need is the message and not the messenger. Okay. Let's get one card, please, for advice for Aries. One card for advice for Aries. Oh, interesting. So this says mirror. Who or what is triggering you? So that is whatever this is, a situation that's bothering you, that's causing a sense of unrest, that's kind of knocking you off your balance, and that's what those kind of soulmate situations are for. They're meant to hold a mirror up to you, so that you can see yourself. Usually in these situations, especially if you're involved with like a narcissist kind of thing, the healing you're trying to give to the narcissist person is the healing that you need to be giving to yourself, because unfortunately those people are not able to heal. Literally physiologically can't heal from the mental situation in which they're in. Their brains are just wired differently. But they offer you an opportunity to see what needs to be healed. So and discover another side of yourself. So whatever's going on right now is giving you an opportunity to take a really long, hard look in the mirror and see not only like what needs to be healed, but also how far you've come, because how far you've traveled because of the trust that you've put in the universe that you were going to land okay, that it wasn't about the messenger, that it was really about the lesson and about bringing you to a new place. That was what I was saying. Like, one of the things that was in the conversation that I had with this person yesterday was like, you have a vision of me that's so outdated that I don't even know who you're talking about. And they were like, well, people don't change. And I said, no, but we do evolve, and we do find different articulations of ourselves. And that's kind of what's happening here. Now let's read these messages here. So if you've picked this, you get the Song of the Wild. Let me read that for you. To find this book in the mess of cards here. All right, Song of the Wild. Okay, new horizons await you. You're ready to savor the wonders of the world. Take some risks, answer the call of the wild, step out of your comfort zone, live passionately, take steps in the direction of freedom, expand beyond your limitations and boundaries. Maybe it's time to take a journey or do something new and exciting. I don't know about the journey right now, but the new and exciting perhaps. Your native spirit wants you to know you are entering a period of expansion and going beyond your self-imposed limitations. Even if you feel hesitant, this is the time to try something new and do things in a different way. You might visit far-off lands or wild natural places. Adventure often entails risk. But without it, life can become lackluster, excuse me, and stagnant. There's a vast new and wondrous vista just around the corner, but you'll never see it if you don't venture out. Here it says the journey is plan a trip. I would hold off on that, but take some class, or, with the moon or the nodes in Gemini, everything's going to kind of be about our immediate neighborhoods, our families, like short journeys. So when and if you are allowed out of, when you're allowed out of lockdown, perhaps there's a space in your neighborhood or in your community, in your region that you've never been to that's worth exploring. Take some classes that get you out of your comfort zone, try new styles, do the same thing that you've always done, but in new and different ways. Push beyond your boundaries, step out of character, spend time in the wilderness. And so that's sort of, very clearly starting to get to a new you. And while I was reading this, I was remembered of, I've discussed this video before from this rabbi who puts it up, who talks about the lobster, and the lobster who changes shells. And what happens is the lobster grows and the shell that he has on his back is too tight for him. And so he goes off into a little corner to protect himself. He loses his old shell and he grows a new one. And then he comes back a bigger lobster with a bigger outside, with a different external representation. And apparently they do this 2 or 3 times over the course of their life. And he says the signal that the lobster gets to go into hiding when he knows it's time to change is discomfort, right? And so the thing that makes you feel most uncomfortable is what's inviting you to dig deeper. It's giving you the signal that it's time to change. It's time to level up, that you are in, they call them growing pains, right? That's literally what it is. So wherever the discomfort of the triggering is coming from is your source of growing pains. And that's sort of where you need to look about what's growing. Okay, this middle card here is the trickster. Let's see what he's about. Should be the Cocopelli. But anyway, so things are not as they seem. Something that seems bad may in fact be good, and vice versa. Don't take everything at face value. Look beneath the surface. This card encourages you to try and find humor or gentle amusement in seemingly difficult situations. It also encourages you to have irrepressible fun. Step out of the mold. In indigenous traditions, there's the concept of the tricksters. In Native American tradition, the trickster is often depicted as a wily coyote, but sometimes the trickster is a human called Heyoka. There is a lighthearted, fun aspect of the trickster, but there's also the caution to tread carefully because things are not always as they seem. Be discerning. What appears to be a good opportunity may in fact not be. The wonderful aspect of this card, choosing you, is that it offers the opportunity to step out of old, outmoded ways of perceiving yourself. The trickster allows you to see yourself in an entirely new way and asks you to step out of old routines and habits that might be keeping you stagnant. Okay, so very clear message, same coming up for both of these, that there's a whole new version of us that's trying to break through. Okay, it might sound very strange, but the easiest way to activate the energy of this card is to howl like a coyote. If you can, it's even better to do during the light of the full moon. This full moon phase lasts for a couple days, so you can still get in on this. This breaks up stagnant energies and brings in fresh vitality. Sorry, my daughter was sneezing a lot there. We have terrible allergies, both of us. Okay, yeah, so very clear new birth stories, new discoveries for us. If you want to howl at the moon, go for it. Last one is the white buffalo. And let's see what this says. And also interesting that these two are in order here. You can see there's a clear progression. White buffalo. All right, abundance and security are flowing into your life. And interesting, this comes across over the Golden Palace here. All things are possible. Balance and harmony prevail. You may be called upon to stand up for others, but you can do this because you have the support of many beings in the spirit realm. In Native American traditions, there are prophecies about the coming of the white buffalo, especially among the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota. There's a legend that the white buffalo calf woman, a mystical being, came to the people a very long time ago when they were out of balance. She gifted the people with a sacred bundle containing the white buffalo calf pipe to help restore the balance. Upon leaving, the white buffalo calf woman prophesies that she will return at the end of an age and that she will appear as a white buffalo calf. In recent times, white buffalo calves have been born, leading many to believe that this is the beginning of a new time. When this card chooses you, it's an honor, for it speaks of a time of miracles and balance in all things. You are a channel for the greater forces in the universe. With their help, all is possible, but without it, things can be a struggle. Surrender to support from the Great Spirit, and that's interesting, it's like one story there. Surrender to support from the Great Spirit. You do not have to do everything alone. The shape shift into the white buffalo and the energy this card brings will multiply tenfold. Imagine that you can feel the power in your muscles and the fecund earth beneath your hooves. Feel the weight of your horns and the warmth of your hide. This calls the deeper energies of white buffalo into your life. Very interesting. So look for your source of discomfort. Again, you may have situations that are being dusted up from the past, those old bags that are being put under the sun, under the window for some air and some sun. At the same time, a very visible ritual, fall leaves, about what is about to die, that this is a moment of clearing off and rebirth and restarting and transformation. So if, again, you may have something start up really quickly and end just as quickly as it started, there may be a situation that is causing you a lot of discomfort or triggering you that is there to wake you up to a different aspect of yourself. But it's whatever sort of the disappointment, the message is really to not confuse the message and the messenger, right? The point is to push you into a new life. It is not about sticking to the thing that's triggering you. It's about understanding that that trigger is a catalyst so that you can open up to what lies really deep in your own heart. And you just have to sort of trust. You see how it moves from that blue to that pink? You have to trust that this change is happening, even if you can't, it's coming from within. All right, I'm going to stop there. I wish you a very happy rest of the full moon period and a lovely week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.